This is the Bringing Business to Retail podcast, and if you have ever felt guilty about the time that you spend working, then today's episode is for you. Welcome to the Bringing Business to Retail podcast, where I, Selena Knight, share strategies, interview retail revolutionaries, and delve into the minds of e-commerce experts to help you grow a profitable, independent retail or e-commerce business. If you're stuck in a rut, or if you feel like business is way harder than it should be, or you've overachieved all of the things that you've set out to and are wondering what to do next, or how do I even make this better? I know that you're going to love today's episode. If you're stuck in a rut, feel like business is way harder than it should be, or you've achieved all of the things that you set out to and are wondering what next, or how do I even make this better, then I know that you're going to love today's episode. When I first started my business, I was plagued with guilt. As I dropped my daughter off at daycare 5 days a week, or when I collapsed on the sofa at 6 p.m. and I told my family that I was too tired to cook, it had to be takeaway tonight. And oh, by the way, Ed, could you please go and get it because I've been on my feet all day, I've been packing orders and serving customers. I want you to know that I know how it feels to feel guilty when you're packing orders at 6 p.m. and you think, I really should be dishing up dinner right now. And I know the heart-stabbing pain that hits you an hour after you realize you've just said, not right now, sweetie. Mummy just has to finish this one last thing about 27 times since your kid got home from school. And if you're in the shop or the office, it's easy to feel guilty about the household chores that you should be doing, but you can't because obviously you're at work. And when you work from home, you feel guilty about doing any of those household chores because you know you should be working. I mean, it is a catch-22. And feeling guilty about working can seriously mess you up. I want to tell you a little bit of a story because I think this is a really good example of how guilt can literally ruin our lives. I remember when Lana was in year 2, so what would that be, like 7 or 8 years old? And I remember picking her up from after school care and she said to me, Mum, when are you going to get a real job? Hello? Now this is a bit of a backstory if you don't know me and you're new to the podcast. I started my retail business before my daughter was born. So me owning my stores was literally the only job she'd ever seen me do. So I was a bit confused. I was like, but what do you mean? What do you think I do all day? And she said, well, you've got the shops, but when are you going to have a job where you just go to an office all day and then you're here to pick me up? Oh yeah. I have a lot that I could feel guilty about, and perhaps you've had a similar scenario happen to you. I mean, heck, my daughter's first birthday party was held in the park across the road from my shop because Ed and I were on a deadline to get the painting finished before open day. So my kid, for her first birthday, had a store-bought cake and some presents in the park with my family, who, I will admit, I actually left her with, or we left her with, so we could go back and get some more painting done because my family lives about 2 hours away. So the fact that I had somebody to babysit and I could get something done, you know, there's guilt all around. That was not an Instagrammable moment. Nobody wants to put a post up that says, hey, I'm here painting my shop on my daughter's birthday. So now, let me just pause this podcast right here because when I was wireframing out what I was going to talk about today, I got to this point and I had to go and pick Lana up from school. So I want to pause the podcast right here and I will come back in a moment and tell you what happened. Hey there, Sal here, and I'm going to get right back to this episode, but I just wanted to jump in real quick and let you know that my free business growth videos, the Retail Breakthrough Series, are going to drop on August the 26th. Now, I only release this series a couple of times a year, and this time around I have re-recorded all of the videos with brand new content, and it's going to break down exactly why you are working harder than you ever have before, but you're still not seeing those results in your bank account, and why you're unable to get past 6 figures, and how to fix all of that in a way that almost no other retail or e-commerce store owner is doing. So if you are ready to step out of the overworked, underpaid shopkeeper identity, pre-register for immediate access when the Retail Breakthrough series drops over at selinaknight.com/breakthrough. Okay, so when I was picking Lana up from school, I was sitting in the car and I was doing some research on working guilt, working parents, working mothers. And a lot of this does tend to revolve around mothers, but I know that guys feel this as well. So hashtag multitasking, sitting in the Mini, flicking through, reading some research papers. And I found, yes, I'm one of those geeky people who really loves to read research papers. And I found this University of Maryland study that said, well, it found that for children aged 2 to 11, it makes no difference the number of hours that a mother spends with her children when it comes to the child's academic or psychological success. In fact, the pressure to spend so much quality time with our children creates so much stress in mothers that it may actually make us worse parents than if we just focused our time on making more money, as the mother's education and her financial achievements have a greater impact on her children than just sheer hours spent together. That's like mind-blowing. I don't know if anybody else feels that, but I read that and it was just like this giant weight lifts off your shoulders. It's really interesting because about 30 seconds after reading it, Lana jumps into the Mini and I thought, all right, I have the perfect market research sitting right here next to me. Now, Lana is about to turn 12 in, I don't know, a week or two's time. You know, am I feeling guilty that I don't quite know how many days there are? No. But she's about to turn 12. She's quite eloquent. I was going to say elegant. Definitely not elegant. Definitely eloquent. She's happy to speak her mind. I wonder where she got that from. And so I turned to her. We put on our seatbelts and indicated, and I started to drive off. And I said to her, I'm doing a podcast today, and I was just doing some research. It's about parents who feel guilty that they have to work. Now, if anybody has a 12-year-old, you know that the majority of the answers that we get go something like this. Okay, so I got, okay. And so I said to her, so can I ask you a question? And it doesn't matter what your answer is. I'm not going to be offended. I won't be hurt. It doesn't matter what your answer comes back as. Okay, typical teenager. I said, do you think that I didn't spend enough time with you when you were growing up? And she literally spits out her drink and she's like, no, we do everything together. Actually, maybe she doesn't talk like that. But basically she said, no, we do everything together. I mean, there's only 3 of us. And I said, okay, do you think that I was a bad parent by sending you to preschool 5 days a week? She was like, no, that's where I met my best friend Daisy. And if I didn't go to preschool, I would have met Daisy. And I loved preschool. I said, all right, good. I'm feeling much better now. All right. Do you think that I was a bad parent for sending you to before and after school care? So pretty much 5 days a week, Lana went to before and after school care. And she was like, no, all that I remember was that I loved going there. Actually, I remember a few times where you threatened me with not being able to go to USH, after school care, if I didn't do my homework. And I was like, oh, good call. I'll make sure I add that into the podcast. But here's the thing. She is 12. She understands feelings. And if she felt put out, there would have at least been a pause in the conversation. But there was nothing. She was adamant that sending her to before school care, sending her to preschool, and she went to family daycare from 6 months old. Now, I could choose to feel guilty about that. But hey, there is a study backing me up that says I do not need to feel guilty about that. But realistically, when you ask somebody the question and you find out that it's not a thing at all, you realize this is all in your head. We are the ones, personally, who are feeding this guilt monster. And when we feel guilty, our natural response is to do something to offset the feeling, to, I guess, right the wrong. And so let me ask you this. Do you think that you are making the best leadership decisions in your business if you are crumbling under the weight of guilt? Do you think that you're going to make the best purchasing decisions if you're feeling guilty that a customer sent you an email about some out of stock products that you know that you were supposed to order 2 weeks ago, but you never quite got around to it? Are you going to make the healthiest choices when it comes to diet and exercise if you're feeling guilty about the fact that the most exercise you've done since the beginning of COVID is walking out to the letterbox to get the mail, and you skipped lunch because you needed to send all those emails? No, right? Guilt is something that you choose, and ultimately it's how you show up that affects your family, your friends, your business, and yourself. Guilt is this feeling that we experience when we think that we've done something wrong or bad, or when we do something that, or we don't do something that we think we should have done, isn't it? So guilt is, we get this guilty feeling when we think we've done something wrong or bad, or we think we haven't done something that we're supposed to. Well, usually I think mine's the latter rather than the former. So if that's the case, I want to let you in on a secret. You are not a bad parent because you like to work. And you are not a bad partner because you like to work. And you're not a bad child or grandchild because you like to work. For me, working fills my cup. It allows me to help people achieve the life that they want. It gives me the satisfaction that I have helped make the world a better place. It gives me a sense of achievement, and it lets me feel proud of what I've accomplished. And it gives me an income so I can support my family and my friends, and I can make memories with my family together. But I also get to support other people when I buy from them. But let's be really honest with ourselves. When it comes to feeling guilty, we actually have a choice. Every day we make hundreds of choices, all of which can either make us feel empowered, or they can fill us up with doubt and anxiety and this dreaded feeling of obligation. So let me ask you this. Do you really want to spend your days or weeks or months of your life feeling guilty? Or do you want to feel energized and empowered about how the decisions that you're making are providing for your family, setting you and your kids up for success, and that you are a role model that your kids aspire to be? It is totally your choice. And I'd love to know which one that you choose. Okay, that is all for this week. I just wanted to remind you that pretty much this time next week, the brand new Retail Breakthrough series will be dropping. I spent the last couple of weeks rewriting, re-recording all fresh new content right in the middle of COVID that will help you to supercharge your business. It will help you unpack what's holding you back. It will give you the tools and the strategies that you need to grow your business. So if you're feeling overworked and underpaid and you want to feel energized and inspired and be super excited about going to work every day, then make sure that you listen in. You can head over to selenaknight.com/breakthrough and register now, so you will get that first video when it drops. It's a free training series. It'll only be up for a limited amount of time, but as I said, all new content, all new videos. Super excited about helping you uncover what's holding you back and giving you the tools that you need right now to move your business forward. Okay, I'll see you right back here, same time, same place next week. Bye. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. You can find all of the show notes over at selinaknight.com. If you found something that you heard today particularly useful, I'd love it if you could leave me a review on iTunes or Stitcher. And of course, feel free to share this episode with someone that you think could benefit by listening to it. Want more retail biz strategies? You can watch the Bringing Business to Retail TV show, where each week I'll answer a question or provide you with a simple, actionable retail biz strategy that you can implement in your business right away. If you have a question or a guest, I'd love to hear from you. Drop my team an email at podcast@selinaknight.com, and I'll see you on the next episode. Have a great week.